All right. Uh, well, looks like this week it's just gonna be me for this because we had some technical difficulties. The recording that we made last night, Wednesday night, as usual, um, the audio is corrupted. So all you see is the video with no sound for the most part. But I'm gonna run through these, all the picks we made, just to have them on file. First one up Thursday night. Bengals at the Ravens. We all chose the Ravens, and we all chose the same for a lot of these this week, um, with the exception of I think 3. Uh, Bengals at the Ravens. We chose the Ravens. Uh, Next up at 8:30 in the morning, because this is, I believe, the Germany game. Giants versus Panthers. We chose the Giants because the Giants' pass rush is going to give them the edge in this. Then to start off the noon games, we have the Patriots at the Bears. We chose the Bears just because that defense should bounce back after a couple of weeks of being kind of meh. Bills at the Colts. We easily all chose the Bills. Vikings at the Jaguars. We all chose the Vikings because the Jaguars are not very good. Broncos at Chiefs. It should be no question after this past week. We all chose the Chiefs. Saints and Falcons in New Orleans. It's gonna be a rough one, and we had this whole thing during the recording last night, which sadly got lost, going on about Dennis Allen and how he got fired and some expectations and stuff that we had going forward, but without a proper head coach, with all the injuries we have stacked against us, the Falcons are easily winning this. And that is something, yet again, we all agree on. Next up was San Francisco and Tampa Bay. I believe we all took not Tampa Bay, but we all took San Francisco, especially because there's a possibility that Christian McCaffrey could be back. The first split that we had in this whole thing was for Washington and Pittsburgh. Will, myself, and Chris all chose Washington. Of course, I'm going to choose Washington. And Paulo took the Steelers. This is going to be a good game. This may be, in fact, game of the week. It is the first true test for Jaden Daniels, and I think this is going to be most likely the best game of the week. Next up was Chargers and Titans. We all took Chargers. There should be no question. Their defense is good. Their offense is moving. The Titans, not so much. Next up, the Jets and Cardinals. This one we all agreed was a tough one to decide on because we don't know which version of either of these teams we're going to get. The Cardinals currently are top of their division, surprisingly enough, and have won some very interesting games this year and been competitive against good teams. And the Jets are the Jets. If I remember correctly, we all did take the Jets on this one, just because we feel more confident in how consistent they have been. Meanwhile, the Cardinals are wildly inconsistent. Next up, we have Eagles and Cowboys. The Cowboys lost Dak. The Cowboys may have also lost CD. Plus, they have not been playing well with those two to start with, so it's Eagles all day. And Sunday Night Football, Lions at Texans. If Nico Collins was playing, we all agreed that we had more confidence picking the Texans. But without Nico, without Diggs, they're going to struggle. And we all, except for Will, believe that the Lions are going to win this. Will was the only one to pick the Texans, and I'm not surprised. The last one of the week, we had Dolphins at the Rams. I believe that, again, Chris, Will, and myself all chose the Rams, going at their full potential right now. They're firing on all cylinders. And Paulo chose the Dolphins. It's a interesting game, I think. Uh, without Tua, they have been a mess, but with him, they're competing, but they're not winning. So I'm not sure how well this is going to look. And here, as you can see, teams on bye: Browns, Packers, Raiders, Seahawks. We did want to mention in the podcast a few more things, though, in addition to Dennis Allen being fired. There has also been some trades that happen around the league. The big one for us, at least, being Marshawn Lattimore is now a Washington Commander. I believe he's expected to play this week. He should help out their secondary a lot. And outside of NFL news, for college, this week is two of the biggest games of the year for the SEC. The first one being Ole Miss and Georgia, which it seems every year determines a playoff spot for one of these two teams. But this is essentially an elimination game for Ole Miss. If they want any shot at the playoffs, they have to win this game. And as Chris said, he feels better about them since the LSU game. He has seen that Georgia is vulnerable, that they are not invincible, and he thinks they have a good shot. That remains to be seen. And the second one is a night game here in Baton Rouge, LSU and Alabama. And this is essentially a playoff game at this point. If whoever loses this game Saturday night is going to be eliminated from the playoffs. As we all know, this rivalry is a deep one. It's one that's been leaning more towards Alabama, but LSU has had some great moments against them. But there's something different about being in Baton Rouge on a Saturday night. When Death Valley comes alive, so do the Tigers. And that's why I have faith that after a bye week, after that Texas A&M game, have faith that they can work out the kinks, just like they did against Ole Miss. Come out and show the rest of the college sports world that LSU is not as weak as everybody thinks they are. But that'll wrap up for this week. Hopefully next week there's no more technical difficulties, but we'll see.